father was an elder, eventually became an associate pastor and then a pastor. And when I turned 7, not to be outdone, my father bought me a Bible and a pulpit for Christmas. I think I used it officially one time, about a year later, a year after pastoral training. I I set the pulpit up in the front yard, just a short little thing, put the Bible on it, opened the Bible to the only book I cared about, because I was told growing up that I was named after John the Beloved. So the book of John, and I started reading it, and then I started interpreting it, pacing back and forth. And before I knew it, the neighborhood kids were starting to gather in the front yard. I'm 8 years old, maybe, and I think they were between 14 and 17 years old. And there were about 7 or 8 of them at first. I started getting questions. Pastor John, can you touch yourself in heaven? And I said, that's not a sin. You can touch yourself as much as you want in heaven. They were happy about that. Can we have sex in heaven? To which I said, no. You can't have sex ever because it's bad and it's sinful. Are there candy bars in heaven, and can we eat as many as we want? Yes, of course there are candy bars in heaven, and you can eat as much as you want and you won't get sick. I saw this big tall kid in the back smoking, and I said, and smoking cigarettes is a sin too. And the kid said 2 things. The first thing, he said, oh, I see your father smoking all the time, which is a true story, only I didn't see it when I was a kid. And the second thing was, and I'm not smoking a cigarette, so it really doesn't matter. My rude awakening came when a girl, like 13 or 14-year-old, raised her hand and asked, why did God let my parents get divorced? But I didn't know that behind me, my family is scrunched up against the window. My dad he has his Nikon. He's taking pictures of me. So he calls an audible and comes running out and says, okay, come over here, corners, meet in the corner, like I'm in a boxing match. So I go over, my dad gives me a pep talk, here's what you can say, and here's what, maybe you refer them to me or someone else to answer, tough questions like that. And I said, okay, that sounds good. How am I doing? Yeah, you're doing great. Get back out there. So I turn around, and because my dad had come out, the only thing left was a pulpit and a smoldering joint on the sidewalk. That was my initiation into the ministry. And it was the last time I would ever consider it. It was mortifying because I was this kid that wanted to make a difference. And I came to find out, mostly through my older brothers, that they were totally clowning me at 8 years old. Not a fun experience, but I do look back on it with some fondness.